What is up, beautiful people? Today we are comparing swipe tools. So we're going to start out with the playing card. Next, we're going to move to the business card. After which, we're going to play with our paint chipper. And next, achoo, we have our paper towel. Man, I almost forgot about this little contraption. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know the name of this, and I know that people use it for a lot of different things, but we're gonna be using it for paint swiping today. And lastly, but not least, we're gonna get a little bougie and we're going to play with acetate, which is just a fancy word for a thin piece of plastic. So without further ado, by the way, I'm Garrett Brown, and this is Garrett Brown Art Studios, and I'm back with another video. So, I use the same paints for each pour, and what we want to do is just look at the differences with the swipe tools and how they can affect the outcome. And as you'll see, we got some really different outcomes. So, with our first swipe here, we are using our playing card. The good thing about the playing card is it provides a good textured surface that isn't flimsy, but it's gonna really flow with the paint. And additionally, the playing card is like a perfect size. It's not too big and makes it uncomfortable to handle. It's the perfect size where you can get away with a small piece and get away with doing multiple swipes with it on a big piece. As you can see, we got great coverage and the cells are popping up nicely. And up next we have our Doohickey. I know it's using a lot of different mediums and capacities. I know that you can use a similar tool in screen printing, like of t-shirts, but I don't know the actual name of it. However, I know that you can find it at any craft store. This tool, because the surface tension is going to be a very small area, it will really mesh and mix the colors together, which could give us some really nice effects depending on what you're going for. However, for me, it's very finicky with the pressure, so it's something that you have to practice with, and something that, well, I need to practice with. And we have our paint chipper. If you follow my content, you know that I love using my handy dandy paint chipper. I've learned how to handle it, and I seem to be able to apply perfect pressure. This has a little bit more of a surface, so it allows you to grab more paint, and for me it evenly distributes the colors and produces crazy cells. But a con to paint chippers are the larger they are, the more they tend to warp. They're typically made of plastic, and even the metal ones do the same thing. So that's just something that you'll have to look after. That's something that you'll have to take into consideration, which is why I tend to use smaller ones and stick to around this size. And these can be found at any of your local hardware stores, and they're relatively inexpensive. Okay, we're gonna have some fun. This is the business card, also known as the finger skateboard. So the great thing about a business card is you've always got one laying around, and you can actually apply the pressure with your fingers. If you press your first two fingers at the end where I have bent down the business card, you can apply as little or as much pressure and uniform pressure as you would like. So that's why I like the business card, and that's how I use it. A con to the business card is they get flimsy quick, and you can still have trouble with the pressure because it's just so flimsy. So you may not get a lot of swipes out of one business card. All right, and now we are on to the paper towel. Now let me tell you this. I've never used the paper towel in any of my pieces. However, I've seen a number of other people use it and say how much they love it, so I decided to give it a shot. I can tell you right off the bat, a really good thing about the paper towel is the little bit of texture that you get. It's probably going to create some cool effects, and you're going to get a really uniform swipe with the paper towel because as you press the paper towel onto the paint, it's literally adhering to the paint. So you shouldn't have any problems with coverage as far as paper towels go. Another pro is they're cheap. I mean, you get a whole roll of paper towels for $1. Not sure of the cons quite yet because I haven't played with them a lot. But it's definitely something that I'm going to play more with, and hopefully you will too. Lastly, we have the acetate, which, if you remember back in school, the overhead projectors, this is for my older folk, and the vis-a-vis pens that you wrote on so the class could see, that's all this is. I have used acetate before. When I first started pouring in 2017, I used it a lot. I can definitely tell you there are a lot of pros and cons to acetate. Acetate can give you some beautiful, beautiful effects, as we're looking at right now. But acetate can become quite hard to handle when you get larger pieces because it's you kind of maneuver the shape of it, and it can create gaps sometime in your swiping. Another slight con is it's not readily accessible, like you have to order it or have to find a place that carries it. But like I said, it can be really good for large pieces. If you play with it enough, you can use acetate, maybe 1 or 2 times on a 2 or 3 foot canvas. Alright family, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. As always, remember, do everything with love, and until the next video, peace.